What's going on YouTube? BryceCrispy94 here, bringing you another miniature painting video. And this time we are tackling the Bunny Barbarian. That is right, a Harengon Barbarian. Bunny Brute. This model is from Epic Miniature as the Bunny Brute. A well-deserved name. Let's go ahead and show it off here. So we got our little bunny rabbit friend here, all primed in a nice matte black. Wearing some simple leather armor, as well as two nice hand axes. I love this model. I couldn't decide which Bunny Barbarian I wanted. It was either this one or another that I don't even remember who modeled it, but I went with this one because I enjoy the scale of this one, because Harengons, they're either short or tall. Like they range in height, I'm pretty sure, according to Witchlight. They could be, you know, like dwarf size to almost elf sized, I believe. I don't know if they're as tall as humans, but I feel like the past Harengons that we've painted have been taller Harengons, and this one is a short little stout dude, and I love that for the fact that he is a barbarian. So that's the main reason I chose this. Plus, we've done a lot of epic miniatures on this, and they're always high quality. The supports are fantastic. I mean, this thing just fell right off the supports after it came off the printer, which I love. Maybe a couple pock marks where the supports were maybe just a little too deep, but that's whatever. It's on the back of the model. I can forgive. Before we get into painting, a couple things. First, hope everybody's 2024 has started off fantastic. We made it through the first month. 11 more to go, and then 2025, if your 2024 is already a bust. Thankfully mine has been pretty well so far. I only hope that it keeps improving. Fingers crossed. With that being said, the second thing, you may have noticed he is not attached to the base, and that is because we're going to do some base effects here first. Before we actually glue our little guy on. Ooh, computer just kind of freaked out. Sorry about that. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up and I'll explain what we're doing with the base in 3, 2, 1, now. Before we start with our rabbit, we're going to focus on the base. So if you don't really care about basing, you might want to skip ahead a little bit. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our Reaper Shield Brown, and we're going to paint the top of the base in that. This is going to be our base coat for our base. Now with this base, we're going for a deserty look. So we're going to grab Citadel's Technical Martian Iron Earth and slap a huge glob of that on there. And as this paint dries, it cracks to give that arid landscape that I want. Once the Iron Earth is good and dry, I let mine dry overnight. We're going to grab some Army Painter Skeleton Bone and just slather that over the top. This is going to give our deserty look, but let that brown still exist in the cracks, just to give it a little bit of layers. Now we're moving on to the actual Harengon itself. We're going to fix it to the base, just super glue or whatever you use. And then we're going to paint the fur parts of the model in Brain Matter Beige. This will be 1 to 2 coats, but just do the fur parts. So the feet, the hands, the arms, and the head. Once you're happy with your brain matter beige coat, we're going to create a glaze using amber skin. Now I usually do a 2 drops of paint to 3 drops of water for my glazes, and it seems to work out okay. If you guys have any suggestions, I'd be happy to hear it. But with this glaze, we're just going to apply it to the arms of the model and the hands, but not the inner arms, just the outer arms and outer hands, as well as the head, but leave the snout the brain matter beige color. But we're going to do all the head, including the ears. While we let that glaze dry, we're going to go ahead and move on to the leathers of the model. We're going to grab some Reaper Woodstain Brown, and we're going to do our pants and our leather shirt, including the belt. We'll change that up later, but it's easier to get that brown base coat on now. This will give us a nice dark brown leather look. Next, we're going to move down to the cloth wrappings around the bottom of the Harengon's legs. We're going to paint this in a drake's tooth. It'll probably take 1 to 2 coats over this black primer, but it will end up looking fantastic, especially when we go to finish this off. Simple step here, but we're going to grab Sturge Tan, which is an Army Painter D&D line exclusive, and we're just going to do the nose and the inner ears of our rabbit to give that kind of fleshy skin tone that the rabbits have. Now we're going to create a nice dark brown glaze using Army Painter's Dirt Splatter. Again, I did the 2 drops of paint to 3 drops of water, and we're just going to use this glaze on the shoulders of the rabbit, the tips of the ears of the rabbit, and just a little bit on the back of the head. And I even went ahead and did kind of like a little stripe going between the eyes from the nose up. You can do whatever you want with this glaze, just kind of give your rabbit its own personality. This next step, we're going to be combining some driftwood brown with wood stain brown. These are both Reaper paints and they pair well together. We're going to do 3 drops of the driftwood and 2 drops of the wood stain to create a darker leather looking brown. And we're going to paint the belt of our Harengon, as well as the collar around its neck, and then the sleeves, or where the sleeves would cut off on its leather armor. And then we're also going to go ahead and paint the gauntlets on its wrist. I guess the wrist gauntlets, wrist wraps, whatever you want to call them, in this mix as well. Now we're just going to take driftwood brown and paint the handles of the axes. Driftwood brown's a good woody color by itself, so I think it looks good as axe handles. Now it's time to bust out the metallics. We're going to grab some Vallejo gunmetal and we're going to paint his skirt thing. I don't actually know what it's called, but the thing around his pants, as well as our axe blades. As you guys know, gunmetal is one of my favorite silvers to use, so anytime I have a chance, I'm going to use it. Moving on from gunmetal, we're going to grab Army Painter's Rough Iron, which is a color I haven't used often, but it's a really dark bronze color that's going to look really good on the details of the axe. So the little like plate that holds the axe blades on the handle, as well as the top and bottom pummels of the axe. Also going to use it to do the belt buckle on the belt, and then the buckles on the bracers, just to give them a nice little splash of color. Real quick, back to the gunmetal, just hit the 4 screws on each side of the axe with that, and that's just gonna make that pop just ever so slightly more. Now it's time to finish this rabbit off with some nice shades and washes. The first shade we're going to apply is Citadel's Nuln Oil, and we're just going to apply that to all the metal bits. So the axes and the buckle and his skirt kilt thing, whatever you want to call it. Now we're going to grab Army Painter Strong Tone and hit the bracers with this. This is going to sink in to the recesses to give the straps a different look than what the actual bracers have. We're also going to use it to kind of do a shadow highlight around the knees. And then there's 2 slashes on the back of the model. If we hit that just right with that, it kind of really shows those slash marks in the leather armor. And then if you flip him around to the front, you'll see that kind of ridge that runs down the armor. If we just take 2 thin streaks and go right down the sides of that, that really makes that ridge pop. And the last wash we're going to do is Army Painter's Soft Tone, and we're going to apply this to the Drake's Tooth wrappings we did earlier. Once this is on there, we are done, because it just makes that Drake's Tooth look fantastic, like dirty wraps that we want our Harengon to have. And we are back. The buff bunny is finished, but before I show it off, if you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button to let me know you like the video. Leave a comment to let me know what you like about the video, and subscribe if you're not already. So without further ado, here is our bunny barbarian, aka our Harengon Barbarian. This is an epic miniatures model. Link is in the down below. But I think it turned out fairly well. A couple things I did do off cam I'll talk about real quick. We did paint the nails black on the bunny's feet because I completely spaced that out. So do that as your final step. And then I just did some basing. I added a rock from Battlefield, Army Painter Battlefield rocks, and then this is some highland terrain, and I thought it looked kind of desertish, so threw that in. And I really just put that there to hide some of the Martian iron earth crackles that didn't quite crackle as big as I wanted to. Had a large spot over there where you could barely tell that it had cracked. So in doing this, it just kind of helped cover that up, and I still got the arid look I was going for with this base. Another thing I want to talk about is the glaze. So I used 2 different glazes on this. We used that amber skin glaze and then the dirt splatter glaze, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I'm enjoying. Let me turn the light off real quick so you can kind of see it in the without that glare, because it is a lighter model, so it does get that glare from my camera. But I do thoroughly enjoy the look that the glaze gave. My one wish, and it's not something I did, I just wish there was a little bit of chest showing, so I could have left that white so you could see more of the white transition into the amber fur color. I really like how the axis turned out. I don't do a lot with weapons usually as far as like metal goes. The one thing I probably could have done some sort of wash on the handles, but I don't know, I just did not. Now looking at it, I'm kind of like, I guess I could have, but and then I did do a little bit of wash on the back there, as you can tell, just to kind of like darken those scratches in the armor, and then same in the front, just to give a little bit more not really contrast, but little make that armor pop just a little bit more. There's that ridge piece in the middle, so I kind of did the around that, and it does. I kind of like the added color change that it gave to it. But other than that, that's all we have to talk about. Again, this is an Epic Miniatures model. The link is down there, and this was the first community voted miniature of January, so thank you all who participated in that. There'll be another one in February, and I'll see you then. Hope your new year is going well. Peace.